This is Barry's Boot Camp, one of the many luxury fitness studios where people willingly pay $40 to be yelled at in a dark room for an hour. And yet, I am here multiple times a week along with millions of other people who have made these boutique fitness classes a non-negotiable part of their routines. But these studios are so much more than overpriced exercise. They are carefully crafted experiences that have completely transformed the fitness industry. While a basic gym membership might cost you as little as $10 a month to $30 to $50 a month, fitness studios like SoulCycle, Barry's, and Solidcore might charge you that much or more for a single class. The question is, why? What is the business strategy that transformed basic exercise into a luxurious experience that so many urban yuppies can't seem to live without? I have spent years both observing and heavily participating in this industry, and today we're investigating how luxury fitness studios created a business model that is part high-intensity exercise, part status symbol, and part psychological masterstroke that keeps people coming back. And just why, for many people, it is absolutely worth it. I'll stop doing the pointing thing. All right, as always, before we dive into the business model and the psychology behind premium fitness, do I look like I'm here to mess around? No! Let me give you an idea of what it's actually like to take one of these luxury fitness classes. And we'll focus mainly on Barry's for this because it's my favorite. You walk in and check in with one of the usually chipper and smiling folks at the front desk, and then they'll tell you what spot you have inside the class. From there, you go back to the locker room where you put your stuff away, change into workout clothes, and I'll show you some of the amenities in those locker rooms after the workout. And then it's showtime. Barry's classes are famous for their dark rooms and red lighting. They're actually called the Red Room. Blasting music, and of course, high-end equipment. That's right, each and every one of the treadmills inside a Barry's class are $15,000 a pop. They're the nice Woodway treadmills, which are indeed top of the line. I checked. Each class is 50 minutes and 4 rounds, alternating between the treadmill and the floor for strength training. And what's the workout actually like? It's freaking hard. It's widely regarded as the hardest workout of all. It is high intensity interval training at its best. But of course you can go as a beginner and just run a little bit slower than what the instructors suggest, or lift slightly lighter weights and then you just work up to it. That's what I did. But yeah, I personally come out of each and every Barry's class drenched in sweat. Now, while I focus on Barry's, each studio has its own unique atmosphere. SoulCycle creates this almost spiritual experience with candlelit rooms and instructors who double as motivational speakers. Solidcore, on the other hand, is all about that slow burn muscle failure in a cool, lit blue environment. What they all share, though, is attention to every sensory detail. And I personally come out of each and every one drenched in sweat. Maybe I'm just a sweater, I don't know. And the instructors, they're all really, really great. Extremely fit, as you might imagine. Like one of the instructors that I go to in LA literally looks like a human G.I. Joe. And their motivational coaching approach hits just the right spot for me at Barry's, where they're not mean to you, like run faster, you piece of shit, but they're also not shouting like cringy, fluffy affirmations. It's somewhere right in between where I feel properly hyped up. Then once it's time to shower off all that sweat, you go back into the locker rooms where you have cotton towels, high-end products like Way hair and body products. It used to be Oribe, which is even fancier, but that's okay. Dyson hair dryers, which are $500 a pop, and then, you know, some other basic personal products and toiletries. The amenities do differ a bit between studio, like Solidcore doesn't even have showers. I'm like, girl, that's half the reason I go to Barry's. Just kidding. Kinda. And then finally, there is the fuel bar. So after the sweaty workout, you can have one of these smoothies waiting for you, which is packed with high-end supplements and protein powders. They use Pro Mix products for their smoothies, which, as with all these other things, are coming in at a high price. Smoothies are not included in the class price, but it's a nice option to have right there after you finish working out. And there's also some retail in every studio. So while that might have sounded like an ad for Barry's, it wasn't. I wish. It's just an inside look into how you're not just paying for a hard-ass workout, you're also paying for this overall high quality luxury experience where everything in there is the highest quality version of that thing. And you walk out of there feeling like $1,000,000. Tired? Yes, but satisfied and nicely lotioned up. Okay, so that's what the experience is like, but even still, it's not quite as simple as, oh, it's a high-end experience. That makes sense. There's still the question of why do people who attend these boutique fitness classes multiple times a week not just pay for a gym membership? An expensive gym membership even, like Equinox, which also offers classes and luxury amenities. To better answer this question, let's look at the evolution of the fitness industry and where boutique fitness group workout classes fit into all of this? So beginning with the traditional gym pre-2000s, they used to be a lot more bare bones with a much larger focus on weightlifting and cardio machines and pretty much no focus on group fitness classes. And the business model of traditional gyms surprised me a bit when I was doing my research for this video. You see, traditional gyms that are low cost and high volume of members actually count on most paying members not showing up to turn a profit. Planet Fitness at $10 a month with all that overhead costs, are you kidding me? It only works because most paying members do not regularly attend. In fact, Planet Fitness has openly acknowledged their dependence on low attendance rates. In the early 2000s, some gyms started to add group fitness classes to experiment and try to differentiate themselves. This marked a major transition point as members who went to the gym started to enjoy the social and community aspects and not just the solo workouts. And gyms quickly noticed that members who attended group workout classes were much more likely to renew their memberships. But when did $40 classes as we know them today come into play? Well, noticing this trend of group fitness, boutique fitness classes started to pop up here and there in the 2010s. And Barry's was actually ahead of the curve. So the founder, Barry J, was a front desk employee at a gym. He created his own group class format that became so popular, the gym eventually let him start his own studio. Fast forward, and Barry's Boot Camp, as it was originally called, is founded in 1998 in West Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. I say with pride as an LA native. The boom didn't really start until the 2010s, during which the boutique fitness firms experienced a 450% increase in industry growth compared to 5% for traditional gyms in that same amount of time. Those numbers kind of speak for themselves. Venture capital and private equity firms start pouring in investment. The average class price climbs from $15, $20 to $30 to $40, and the industry has not looked back since. So that's how boutique fitness classes came onto the scene. We're starting to get the picture. Traditional gyms saw that people liked the group workout classes and social aspects, but boutique fitness studios took it to a whole nother level with this very high quality experience. But now let's dig in a little deeper to the fun part, the psychology behind premium fitness, how it transformed my personal fitness journey, and just how these studios have a chokehold on millions of people. Okay, so remember the model for traditional gyms who bet on people not showing up? The luxury fitness model flips this completely on its head. At a typical gym, the psychology works against you. I only pay $30 a month, so skipping today is just losing $1. There's minimal accountability, endless options that create decision fatigue. Should I do cardio or weights? Which machines? And you're basically paying for access to equipment, not an experience. Boutique studios operate on the exact opposite psychology. They are expensive, and it doesn't take a genius to understand the mindset shift from, oh, I might go to the gym today, to I paid $42 for a 5:30 class this Thursday, I'm going. And you're not just paying for access, you're paying for a reserved specific time slot and a whole experience. It's basically the difference between having a gym membership card in your wallet that's collecting dust versus having a non-refundable concert ticket. And this total psychological reversal is completely intentional. These studios know exactly what they're doing by creating this high stakes commitment device. As far as brand positioning goes, different studios leverage different psychological hooks as well. Barry's uses the intensity and boot camp vibe to make you feel accomplished. SoulCycle taps into the emotional catharsis with their therapy on a bike approach. And Solid Core emphasizes the science and precision of their method. They're all selling a transformation just through different psychological doorways. Then there are other factors at play too. The community aspect creates some social accountability. Seeing the same faces at your Thursday 5 p.m. class, following your instructors on Instagram who have effectively become micro-influencers within the fitness space with thousands of followers. But you know what I think is the number one thing that makes these classes so attractive, at least for me? It's the structure. And this is where my personal journey, I think, really illustrates why these studios are so effective. For those who don't know, athletics was pretty much the biggest part of my life besides academics, I guess. But for the first 18 years of my life, I was mainly a track athlete, a sprinter and a high jumper, and then I introduced volleyball later on in high school. But at some point in my life, I pretty much tried every single sport. And anyone who's ever taken sports somewhat seriously, like you were on a team in high school or you played a club sport, knows how structured it is. I would go to school, and then I would go to track practice after school, track meets on the weekends, and then additional workouts with my coach who was telling me exactly what to do. It was completely structured and I loved it. Then came college, where suddenly I wasn't on a team anymore. For the first time in my life, I lacked that organized structure culture of high school sports. Yeah, I still cared about being healthy, so I went to Penn's gym occasionally. But it was college, I was having fun, I didn't have my coach to tell me exactly what to do in my workouts, and so I completely fell out of a consistent routine. This pattern lasted for about 5 years, pretty much all throughout college and into the early pandemic. I'd start a workout kick for a week and then stop and then start again. But the problem wasn't just the lack of structure and accountability. It was that I didn't truly enjoy what I was doing. Random weight circuits and occasional runs didn't capture what I loved about athletics. And this isn't just my story. I actually think this mirrors what millions of former athletes and young professionals experience. We go from structured environments to being told to just go to the gym. It's basically the same thing as if someone always had a personal chef and then you told them to just cook something. It sounds spoiled, and maybe it is, but it's true. Guess what solves those things to a T? Workout classes. After my 5-year hiatus from consistent exercise, it was Barry's that got me back into a routine. It recreates what worked for me as an athlete. A structured, coached environment where each 50-minute session was planned down to the second by a professional who knows what they're doing. And most of all, I enjoy it. The music is blasting, the energy is high, and I genuinely look forward to it. And that's the real psychology of premium fitness. Yes, the investment factor of I paid for it, so I'm gonna show up matters. And yes, the community aspect and the instructor relationships help. But what I'm really paying for is the structure. Having something very well defined for me, having a specific time that I show up to and lock in for 50 minutes, no more, no less. And then, yeah, I have a fancy shower afterwards. And this explains why these studios thrive in urban areas crawling with highly paid young professionals. They're paying for efficiency, a perfectly designed 50-minute workout that fits into their busy lives without requiring them to plan, design, and actually follow through with the solo workout. When you look at it this way, $40 starts to make a little bit more sense, though it's still a lot to pay for exercise. So who exactly is paying for these classes, and why are they priced at $40? Before we explore the target market and the pricing strategy, I'm curious how much revenue these studios are actually generating. And as we always do on the Taylor Bell channel, let's take a quick look at the unit economics of luxury fitness studios. Okay, luckily, this is pretty easy to calculate. Here's a map of the last Barry's class that I was at. You can see I was on treadmill number 2 there. There are 59 possible spots in the class, 11 classes per day. I'd say on average, each class is about 80% full based off of personal observations. And I would guess that the average person pays about $38 per class because yes, you can get some slight discounts, which I'll tell you more about in a minute. That is $19,730 per day per studio. Sounds like a lot, because it is. To put this into perspective, Barry's revenue per square foot is more than 400 times that of traditional gyms and is on par with higher end fitness retailers like Lululemon. I mean, what other business can pack 59 people into a tight space and charge them $38 to $42 for 50 minutes of their time? Not that many. So the Dyson hair dryers and the $15,000 treadmills are starting to make a little bit more sense. Now, that's just revenue. Barry's doesn't publicly disclose their profit or EBITDA figures because they're privately held. But cost-wise, I would assume extremely pricey real estate rents given the ultra premium locations, like we're in the middle of Manhattan, New York City right now, same with the Solid Core and SoulCycle. Obviously, instructor costs, fancy amenities, and equipment costs. Even still, industry experts estimate that Barry's operates with a 25 to 30% EBITDA margin. That's earnings before certain expenses are taken out, compared to traditional gyms, which operate at about a 15 to 20% EBITDA margin. So very profitable indeed. Speaking of profitable business models based on organization, I've recently been using something that is changing the game on how I manage my crazy inbox. Notion, the tool that I already use for all my scripting, organizing, pretty much everything, has launched Notion Mail. So besides Notion Mail automatically categorizing and labeling all of my emails for me using AI, let me show you my 2 favorite features. First, the built-in scheduling tool. Here I am asking myself for a call to discuss channel strategy. Nice. And instead of switching between a bunch of apps like my calendar and my email, I can just hit the schedule command and boom, I can send over my calendar availability as is, or I can go through and actually select certain ranges of my availability. Then on the other end, they just click one of those times that work for them and boom, the meeting is scheduled. Second feature I love, the snippets. For emails that I get all the time, Notion Mail learns my typical responses, or I can manually save them just like this and send them in one click. And since it's built by Notion, it has that clean, familiar interface with all all the keyboard shortcuts that I already know and love. So you can try Notion Mail for free by clicking the link in my description, connect your Gmail account. It's currently only available for Gmail, but they are expanding soon. And thanks so much to Notion Mail for partnering with me on this video. Now, back to our boutique fitness analysis. We've seen how profitable these studios can be, but who exactly is filling these $40 classes? Besides me. Let's take a closer look at the target market that is fueling this luxury fitness boom. All right, we've already kind of built out an archetype of the type of person attending these luxury fitness classes. 25 to 45-year-old urban professional, above average income, health conscious but time limited. Then, as with Erewhon, there are the celebrities. Some of the celebs spotted at Barry's include Jake Gyllenhaal, Kim Kardashian, Julia Roberts, Jennifer Lopez, David and Victoria Beckham, Harry Styles, to name a few. But I actually personally don't associate these luxury fitness classes with celebrities the same way that I do with Erewhon. You're in a dark room. It's not really a high visibility, see and be seen type of thing. That's just my experience. So how do these boutique fitness studios target this specific demographic? Largely through its location strategy. They're all located in densely populated, young, urban, wealthy areas. Even within New York City, they're still pretty strategically placed. We have Barry's in Tribeca, Chelsea, NoHo, Madison Square Park, and then a couple in Upper East and Upper West Side, downtown Brooklyn, and Williamsburg. And for those who know New York, those areas are certainly serving the target demographic. On the marketing front, most of them actually don't do a ton of paid advertising. Barry's is known to take a community-first approach by driving good relationships with its existing clients to drive positive brand identity and a lot of word of mouth. Their social media strategy, though, is solid. Again, the instructors at these classes, most of them, or a lot of them, are micro-influencers within the fitness space, creating fitness content and helping to foster that community feel. So after a decent amount of the classes, the instructor will yell out, "Follow me on Instagram at so-and-so and tag me in your red room selfie." Then there's the iconic red light post-workout selfie. So the social media strategy is there, but it's all pretty much organic. Smart. As for the brand positioning, it definitely varies by studio. I have to say they've done an incredible job carving out distinct identities while still essentially targeting the same demographic. SoulCycle kind of positions itself as a lifestyle brand with the find your soul messaging. Solid Core appeals to the data and results driven crowd with their focus on efficiency and muscle stimulation. Barry's kind of split the difference with their best workout in the world confidence. And the diverse positioning is really smart business. Same price point, different psychological appeal. So now to look at the pricing strategy and perceived value. $40 for 50 minutes of your time sounds absurd on paper. But if we closely look at what you're paying for, the calculation kind of starts to shift. When you break it down, what premium fitness classes like Solid Core, Barry's, and SoulCycle are selling is not just access to gym time. It's a complete experience engineered to actually drive results. The high quality instructors who know your name, the premium equipment, the built-in community, and of course, the structure. These aren't just random perks. They are carefully crafted elements of that pricing strategy designed to justify that $40 price tag. You're essentially paying 80 cents per minute for a professionally designed workout that is pretty guaranteed to make you sweat. Now, I should mention that there are ways to get slight discounts for these classes. I am not paying $40 per Barry's class. I personally use ClassPass, not sponsored, I wish, which lets you book classes at some of these studios by using credits instead of paying full price. So through ClassPass, I actually pay $30 for each of my Barry's classes, which not cheap, but better than $40. And if you want to try it out, I do have a link in my description. Again, not sponsored, but you get some bonus credits and we both get a little kickback. But the $40 price point is also a marketing tool in itself, where they're automatically filtering for their target demographic who is more likely to view this $40 price point as a health investment. While not everyone is in the position to make this investment, obviously, classes like Barry's cater exceptionally well to those who do. Now, I hope it's clear that you absolutely do not need to go to $40 workout classes to be fit. You don't even need to spend $10 for Planet Fitness. All you need is yourself, maybe a pair of running shoes, the ground, and the drive to consistently move. Even I am confident that if I hadn't started Barry's, I would have eventually found my way back to a consistent workout routine, because around the time I turned 25, I was like, how am I still not consistently working out? But for those who are down to pay the $40, whether they go multiple times a week and it's their only form of workout, or they go once or twice a month as a little treat to themselves, or they occasionally go with their friends as a social thing, it is worth it. For me, Barry's didn't just get me back into a consistent workout routine. It pretty fundamentally changed my adulthood relationship with exercise. And the irony is that after spending thousands of dollars on these workout classes, I have now gained the discipline to work out anywhere. I no longer need berries for the structure. I supplement it with outdoor runs and self-led strength training all the time. But I still choose to go to workout classes weekly because the experience is worth every dollar to me. Okay, something that I always find interesting when analyzing businesses like this is what's their future outlook? And as with any business, boutique fitness classes, of course, face their challenges as well. Similar to Erewhon, which is a luxury grocer, classes like this would also be considered to have elastic demand, meaning that during an economic downturn, people will become more price sensitive to services like this. This is the case for luxury things most of the time, because even high income folks, if they're looking to save a little bit of cash, they can also turn to cheaper alternatives. Then there's this other offering that in theory could really disrupt boutique fitness classes, but I actually don't think it's that much of a threat. It's digital offerings like Peloton or Mirror, which you can do from home. These offerings, of course, took off during the pandemic when people were at home, and they haven't fully disappeared, but their growth has normalized, and most successful boutique fitness classes offer both in-person and digital components. So digital offerings will not replace in-person classes, in my opinion, but just complement them. The thing that I think will actually pose the biggest threat to boutique fitness classes is market saturation in urban areas. Parts of Manhattan now have 5 to 7 boutique fitness studios within a 5-block radius. Like the Berries that we've been filming at is right over there. So with more alternatives entering the market, there is an increased pressure for these studios to differentiate themselves. This could lead to higher marketing costs and more aggressive customer loyalty programs to reduce churn in these competitive markets. But to respond to the market saturation in major metro areas like LA and New York, I've noticed studios like Berries expand to secondary markets like Nashville, Austin, Denver, which I think is a really smart move because these cities still have that target demographic of young professionals with some disposable income. And the real estate costs are lower, customer acquisition is a bit more reasonable because these markets aren't quite as saturated, and they can still charge their premium price. So while urban saturation presents its challenges, it's also pushing these studios to expand strategically. My prediction, I think that these studios will only continue to grow. A macro trend that I think we've all probably noticed in the last few years is a huge increased focus on health and wellness. Whether it's health podcasts like Andrew Huberman's becoming mainstream, more discussion in the cultural zeitgeist around longevity, the benefits of weightlifting becoming more talked about for both men and women, which makes me so happy. I do think that these boutique fitness studios really complement this cultural shift that's happening, especially for people who don't really know where to start and they have the disposable income. These classes give you that structure. So while it of course is not necessary to pay for $40 workout classes, I think that we have thoroughly investigated today why it is worth it for so many people. For me, boutique fitness classes didn't just get me back into shape. They reconnected me with what I most loved about athletics in the first place: structure, community, and the pure joy of intense movement. And that experience is something that I don't really put a price tag on, even if these studios certainly do. Have you tried luxury fitness? If so, what do you think? Total ripoff or amazing experience? Let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe for more business case study videos. Until next time, Turtle out. Is it raining too much now? Do we go under that tree? Done. Yay! You know how many people were staring at me that whole time?
Oh, over there.
Yeah, in the La Colombe, which is a Philly-based coffee roaster, and guess what? I don't really like it. I don't like how it tastes. That's how I feel. Oh my God! Were there any calves that walked by while we were filming? No. Cut. It's raining. It's a raining man. Oh, I hate the gusts. I hate them. I hate them. Great day to film. Look. He has little booties. Oh, howdy. If you liked this video, I'd bet my bottom dollar you'll also like this one. Check it out. Okay, bye.